What's up, everybody? Nate Flips FBA back here. Good to have you guys. So today I wanted to just kind of go over full-time Amazon, what made me stop working my current job, and go over pros, cons of doing this and, you know, kind of what to look forward to, any sort of barriers that you have mentally to kind of get over into why you possibly should take this opportunity up, why it's a great time to, and kind of all those things combined. So I was working on this little spreadsheet, just moving it over so I look at the camera more. Um, but kind of breaking down like, you know, my past and where I come from, the job, field that I was in. And maybe you're in a similar situation. Maybe you have a completely different job, but to make like a spreadsheet like this should help you make a decision. Maybe it's now, maybe it's, 3 months from now, maybe it's 6 months from now, but to help you really decide whether you should go full-time Amazon or full-time like reselling in general, whether it be with wholesale, online arbitrage, private label, etc., or it's eBay or it's Facebook Marketplace, anything like that. So let's dive into the spreadsheet. Let's see, what made Nate decide to pack up shop, hang up the tool belt, so to speak. I never really wore a tool belt, but hang up, that type of career and to transition into Amazon full time, make this thing work. To me, it's not like I don't have a plan B really. I decided not to have. I mean, everyone has a plan B, but like mentally, I don't have a plan B. This is what I'm gonna do from now on. It'll transition. It'll adapt to other businesses I already know and I already have plans for. But for now, this is what is going to make me full-time income and fulfill, myself, So let's get into it. So my previous job, I was a home remodeling contractor. I did bathrooms, kitchens, kitchen cabinets, you name it, flooring, painting, kind of everything. My salary, this is pretty accurate. I made about $420 a day. That's what I charged. That's not like it's not like I'd actually make 420. There's a lot of taxes. There's a ton of stuff that goes into the 420. So realistically, you could probably take a third off of that. Um, about 5 days a week, and I put 45 weeks of the year. So that's about 7 weeks that I might not have a filler job. I might take a week or 2 weeks off. Me and my girlfriend, we travel a lot. So I took 7 weeks off of, the whole year just to kind of compensate for if I don't have a job lined up, maybe for a whole week. If I don't have a job 1 day here, 2 days here, 3 days here, stuff like that, in case the schedule, has holes in it. That can happen to a lot of guys in this line of work. Customer cancels, the customer can't pay for something, something else came up. There's a bajillion different reasonings. This is about I'd work about 60 to 70 hours a week. My main customer, their uh, their buildings were about an hour from my house, so that's 2 hours a day of just driving there and back, and that's with 8 hours of working, sometimes nine, sometimes 10. You have deadlines, you have to make those. Sometimes you're early on those deadlines, which is awesome, but other times, they'll add on new things they want to do. They want to, paint, a certain bedroom that they didn't think they were going to paint. They wanted to add different light fixtures. They wanted to change outlets. There's always stuff that would come up in my line of work that someone wanted to change and add, which is cool because I can do a change order and, charge them a bit more. but that means I'm now spending more time. And if we had already agreed to, specific items and they took stuff out and then they added other things in, it was hard to like negotiate, what a fair price was for me to do that work. Um, so on average, if I did 60 hours a week at 420 a day, that's about um, 42 bucks an hour. Pretty good. Now we'll get into the benefits, pros and cons of that. So the benefits, a lot of tax deductions, your mileage, driving 80 miles a day, that adds up very quickly. You can deduct a shit ton off your gross income. So like basically I would never say, I made $94,000 a year. It'd be probably close to half of that with all the deductions and everything. And we'll go into the pros and cons of all these deductions after. The other benefit was my schedule. Like I said, if I wanted to, I could take, as much time off as I wanted, basically. I just wouldn't take on a job. I'd let the customer know, hey, I'm not going to be around for a week, 2 weeks, won't be around this day or the other day. You have doctor's appointments, you have cards that need to get fixed, so you don't have a car. There's always stuff that can, that decide on your schedule really. So the pros, I'm my own boss. That's great. I don't have someone really telling me what to do besides the customer. Customers always, they have their own needs and everything. So that they're pretty much the boss. They write the check, so they're the boss. But other than that, like I'm in control of how the job gets done. Um, I would increase my rate pretty much every 6 months or year. Over the past 2 years with inflation, a lot of trades have gotten very, very expensive because all the prices of materials have gone up. Stuff has come down. Lumber prices have dropped a bunch, but in 2020, 2021, lumber prices, so typically like a 2x4 piece of wood is should be like $3. But in 2020, 2021, it was $10. So a 250 or 150% increase was unreal. So with the cost of materials going up, cost of labor went up. So that was why I increased my rate. There are other things too. Like you get better at doing stuff, you should charge more if you're getting better at it, because your skills are increasing. Deductions, we kind of discussed that. Low overhead, I mean, you have, $3,000 to $5,000 worth of tools, but once you have those tools, like for the most part, unless they break, like you don't need to really, get new tools. Some of these jobs are fun. I always like doing home remodel work just because you can go into a house, kind of visualize with the customer, how it's going to turn out, how much of an improvement it's going to be. It's really rewarding work. The good network part, you start building a customer base and people, you get your name out there and people like it. They like to spread that word of mouth, which is, great for business and it's helps you not, have any struggles like that. Cheap business insurance, my business insurance was like $100 a month. That's general liability. That's, workman's comp, all that stuff. So next, we'll get into the cons. So the cons of doing home remodeling, you don't have any paid time off. You don't have a employee or employer 401k match. So any of this money that I get, you have to save it if you get hurt, if you get sick. That's another reason why I put 45 weeks, because you could get hurt, you could get sick, you want time off, you should always take time off, but you don't get paid for that. You physically have to be there and working, or you're not getting paid. Basically, like if you're not there painting a wall, if you're not there installing cabinets, if you're not there redoing a bathroom, you're not getting any money. And as a result of that, it's rough on the body. Scaling is very difficult. It's very difficult to get, loyal labor, you know, workers. It's just not something, it's not like a good trade that people, are excited to get into, especially if I make 42 an hour and I can charge the customer maybe 80 an hour, I can only charge, you know, I can only pay someone else like maybe 25 an hour. And that has to be a result of stuff getting done quicker and staying to the same level of what do you call it? Like the same level of, you know, not craftsmanship, but just the standard that I would do. We'd want, an employee of mine to, be very close to that, if not the same. So it's very hard to find people that are willing to, stick around. I'd have an employee for a couple weeks and then they just leave. They'd be like, yeah, I'm not done. I got hurt. I'm sick. And then he'd be gone. Um, Another thing, being self-employed, it's very hard to work with banks. Over the last couple years, been trying to buy a house, and you know, it's just very difficult. They want, 2 years of blah blah blah. You need to increase business. You want to make more money, all this stuff, and it's even if you do all that, it's still very hard. Um, Another thing is some customers can be difficult. I live in Massachusetts, in central Massachusetts. If I were to do work out in Boston, people would be paying a lot more because the houses are a lot more expensive. But I typically would never work out there. So I'd work where I live in the central area, and houses aren't as expensive, so they don't want to pay as much to have, probably like the same work done. And people that basically, it's hard to work with cheap customers. And then the last thing is like there's literally no company benefits when you're working for yourself. So that's another thing. I mean, there will be people that comment and say, hey, you could, do this, that, and the other thing. You can. I was never at that step to, you know, put those systems in place that maybe I should have, but it just didn't seem right for me. So let's get into the Amazon side, the side that I'm now currently in. Very happy about that. And yeah, let's dive in. So current Amazon salary, I'm paying myself $1,000 a week. Um, I met with my CPA, and like you don't really have to have a payroll every single week to pay yourself $1,000 a week. You can do a payroll once a month, once a quarter if like you have to. So as a result, I work about 40 to 50 hours a week, I'd say on average. So on average, if I work, if my salary is 52,000 and I work uh, divided by 50, so 50 weeks a year and 40 hours a week, that's $52 an hour. We can dive into this little thing right here, the benefit or the dividends. So with the S corp, one big tax strategy. I'm not a tax professional. Get a tax professional. This is educational knowledge. This is not financial advice or anything like that. But I'm gonna pay myself 52 grand a year, and as long as it's a good year, like I plan on it being, I'll have dividends, which are not it's not income, so it's not income taxed. It's still taxed, but it's not as much. So I'll have 52,000 salary, 52,000 dividends, total of 104K. Um, Meet with the tax professional to go over this type of stuff. But the other things with the S corp, because it should be making a lot of money cash flow wise and everything. I'm gonna set up I haven't done this yet, but this is in the works. A 401k or like a Roth IRA. I'll be able to set up an employee match or an employer match, and you can kind of dictate that, whatever the limit is. I don't know if it's statewide or federal wise, but it should be around $6,000, and the employee can match a certain percentage of that. So I'll most likely match that out or max that out. Employee vehicle, you can do the same with, my previous job. Um, so that's like if you want, if you have excess income at the end of the year that your business is pulled in and it's in like the business account to reduce your tax burden, you could go, purchase a new vehicle that is for your business, You're driving to do RA, you're driving to um, customers like as in like wholesale distributors, you gotta do meetings with them, you have meetings with business not you could do business partners or other businesses. You're going out to dinner with someone that is in Amazon or similar. You can technically write that off or a percentage of that. Um, Next thing is you can get, company healthcare. You can do all that stuff. So the pros of this Amazon business that I've been doing for the last, 7 months almost, only been full time basically for the last month. Working from home, great. It can, there's a pro and con to that. I mean, pro is like as long as you have a good spot, you're not like in the basement where it's cold, you're, in ideally an office room where you can separate your work from your home, basically. Ideally on like a different floor of the house if you have, multiple floors, stuff like that. It's a pro and con, but mostly pro. No, not driving 80 miles. That's great. Easily scalable. This kind of goes into, the same as you can delegate a lot of tasks. You can scale your business as long as quickly as you want, but not really. If you can get outside funding, you can scale very, very quickly, and it's amazing. But if you're limited to like just me, I don't have no rich uncles, nothing like that. I don't come from a wealthy family. I'm very fortunate to have, a roof over my head and everything. But as far as like people just shelling me money, I don't have any of that. Everyone in my family is just working class. But you start a business and you can start getting business credit, you can build that up relatively quickly. Over 2 years, you could go from 50,000 in credit to 150 to 250 to 500. It's very possible. Another pro, it's a structured business. I know what I need to do. I have all my tasks. In a way, it's similar to home remodeling, except home remodeling you can open up a wall and it's a can of worms. The whole wall could be rotted out because the siding is leaking or anything really. So there's some differences there. With the S corp, I'm gonna get a W-2. I'm gonna have payroll, all that stuff. You can do that with their home remodeling, so I won't. You can't shit on that all 100%. But with this business, I'll have an S corp. It'll give me a W-2. That'll help me work with banks more for buying property or getting loans on new vehicles, anything like that. There's really no limit to scale, like we just talked about. The networking is also amazing. This is all like an online business, so we all know the internet is endless, really. So you could network with people on the other side of the country, on the other side of the world, and you can always offer value to other people and them to you as well. The cash flow is also another big pro. Um, Amazon, it can take a while sometimes to get your payouts, but for the most part, the cash flow is consistent. Um, all you're doing is you're sending your items to Amazon and they're selling it for you and you're getting paid for it. You're paying off, the cost of goods, so the difference or the liability of that cash, and you're keeping the rest as profit, as other expenses come up. The cons to Amazon FBA and why I didn't really go full time in the beginning like I kind of wanted to is it's a lot of work to start. You have to learn these softwares, you got to get that skill set, not mastered because you're never going to be a master at it until like you've been doing this for 5 years or something, or at least a long time, a lot of hours. Um, but it's a lot of work to start, to do FBA out of the crib. It's, you're getting boxes and boxes on your porch, your front steps, what have you. And you're just putting in a lot of hours of of getting this stuff out as fast as possible. So it's a lot of work. I guess that's a con, but not really. I mean, whatever. The headaches from growing pains, that can be something. If you try to scale too quick and you max out your card, you spend 50 grand first friggin' 2 days, you're gonna get stressed out just because that payment um, cycle of Amazon giving you your money back, it can take a little while. Um, Another thing is the returns. I mean, that's always a pain no matter what. The customer service, if you're doing FBM, that's another thing. You gotta, people will just randomly message you on Seller Central and be like, hey, blah, 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 like, send me another one. It's like, no, like, we got a little ways to go before I just send you another product and I get like nothing for it. Send it back. Let me look at it. There's a system in place. And then the last con that I could really think of right now is juggling credit. I mean, I got 4 credit cards. One is just for business expenses, so I use my Amazon American Express card for all my softwares. So that's just a reoccurring bill that just hits that card every month. So that's easy to pay off. Plum card, it's good, very good, highly recommend. I got the Capital One Spark, also very good card, gives you cash back. And then I got the Chase Business Premier card or something like that, also very good card. I believe if you place an order of 5,000 or higher, it'll give you like 2 or 2.5% back. So it's another good card. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of all the whole topic of this video that I want to go over and what made me give up my home remodeling job. Mainly, it's the hours, it's the driving, it's the physical labor, it's the lack of scalability. Um, I didn't really mention the competition, but the increase of competition over the last couple of years because of the housing market has been kind of crazy. So if I want to charge 420 a day, someone's going to come and undercut me because, they want work or maybe they just started their own business. So it's tough. But overall, very happy with going Amazon full time. Um, I hope other people get some good information out of this. I hope, you can create your own sort of spreadsheet, break it down like this, pros and cons, simple as that. What type of money do you need to make from Amazon that you can feel comfortable leaving your job if you don't like it? If you can do these alongside each other, like I was doing this work from when I started FBA in July all the way till January, till like the beginning of January is when I was like, yeah, bro, like I'm all done. I'm not taking on any more work. I had to like tell clients that, and they're like, "Oh, really? What are you doing? What are you gonna do? Like, you gonna make money still?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Um, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, drop a like, comment, subscribe, hit me up. That's it. Peace.